right? Shalom, shalom. If we the true Hebrew Israelites, man, week in, week out, prophesy the downfall of America, known as Babylon the Great. Before we get started, we give all praise and glory unto Him. No honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone, who taught us the truth. Much respect to Yakim after laboring his work. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, which is scattered abroad, and you will say shalom.
Shalom.
So of course, we all back once again, with grace and mercy, and how about Shalom Shah, to speak His word, which is a decree that signifies the downfall of America, Esau's kingdom, and the resurrection of the house of David, which is the elect, 144,000 future governors, along with the elect who believe in His gospel. As a matter of fact, Matthew 24 and 14. Start with that. So before these things will take place, that will be word spoken, right? Before the Lord does anything, He has to speak. And you utilize what prophets to bring them forth, man.
Book of St. Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
Right, so this word had to be preached in all the world. The good news, right? Gospel goes with the good news for the Israelites, those who are downtrodden, oppressed by the so-called white man, all right, which points at the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? You pretty much have suffered from the curses by Yahweh Shemashah, which he sent Esau, your arch enemy at you, to oppress you, bring you down to the Lord's face. And now when the time in which the Lord is redeeming His people, then with the remnant, which is going to pretty much raise you up over your oppressor. So that's good news. It should be good news unto you, right? If you desire rulership, dominion, your desire to be on the throne, acceptance, honor, will, or you think you may reign forever and ever. Hey, so the good news only for those select few who really agree with this gospel tells dominion, rulership, this slave on your oppressor. That's offensive on the day, man. But it speaks about how this word will be preached in all the world. And then the end will come. The word end is announcement. The end of Esau. 69, Esau's the end of the world. And then Jacob is the beginning of it to follow. So again, it goes back to that word being spoken. Here it is. You got the Most High, Yahweh Shemashah, who has initiated prophets to proclaim to the world the mysteries of the Bible. But you got millions of Bibles being sold, but no one is able to go into it and break it down as far as like the counsel and the will of the Lord is. They were prophets, right? It's the highest selling book, like 5 million books have been sold, something like that. But no one is able to go into it but the remnant.
It's Isaiah 61 and verse 1. It says, the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek.
Yeah, the meek represents the lowly, those who are downtrodden, who are going to. But pretty much it started with Yahweh Shai, and it's trickled down to his disciples, who led him apostles, and everyone who follow after them. This stands on us to the day, man. The same gospel going out. Okay?
He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives,
brokenhearted, broken-minded, and freedom unto the captives, those who are taken into captivity. So-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay?
and the opening of the prisons to them that are bound.
Yeah, because as Yahweh said, you should know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. All right? And while you be trapped in prison within your mind by the way of philosophy. So the Lord sent for this word to unlock your mind into the truth about knowing where you are. Stop subscribing to what the black culture, Latino, Native Americans. Y'all call yourself Puerto Rican, Guatemala, Jamaicans, and then you call yourself Hebrew Israelites, and then you're declaring that Yahweh Shai is your God now. Rather than Jesus Christ, Buddha, Allah, all that confusion is reversed once the Lord opens you up to this marvelous light. Yeah?
Say in that one time, the shopping on your mind now. You know, they tell you it became child slave to a mental slave. You know, so that was the Lord setting you free from. And so we're going into that mental child slavery, man. It's got you thinking that you are natural born American, but truly you are Israelite in an American captivity.
From the head to it's still far as knowing that so-called white men in the enemy. Like there's levels to this thing. You can understand it, yeah. The Bible speaks about your enemy taking you to captivity, but at the end of the day, you're not rooting for America to restore this man keep it going down, and you're still captive. You're still confined to the ways of America, man.
Yes.
So until you in your mind to your hope for American destruction, this you ain't in heaven, you're still locked, chained up in prison. Mind.
Now it says to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our power.
Right. You gotta consider the vengeance of your power, which is upon the nation, beginning with Esau. Yeah. And 2/3 black people. Yeah.
To comfort all that mourn.
Yeah. Those who mourn in the south, the abominations down in the earth. All right. We're the ones that are crying for justice. We're the ones that are oppressed and are stressed and vexed with the wicked. Just like our forefathers a lot. Yeah. Vexed with the conversation of the wicked. Only a few fit that criteria. Which you know, who was knowledge comes what? What sorrow? Wisdom and knowledge comes what? Like I said,
Greedy.
yeah. Greed. You was asking one of six.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the more you understand and know, man, the more you fucking hate this place. That's why I say a Christian make a wise man mad, and a gift restores the heart.
Yeah, this Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 18. It says, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
Because I think all the store for like a knowledge. So when you increase that knowledge, because when you store for this shit, that means that you don't really know what the fuck is going on. When you store for like a knowledge, you don't really understand like how you oppress so-called white men secret plotting against you. You don't really understand why you're putting in this predicament. You know? But when you do understand that, it's like, damn, now you want to get out of it. You know? That increases your sorrow. So now you're crying out for it. You're crying out for a higher power to live with. And but you know that no other power outside of Howard Shah can do that. No man, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, no one, hey, Al Sharpton, you know, Crump, what's his name? Crump, that fat black face nigga. You know, any kind of activist, man, they're not going to be able to live with you. You're ridiculous. So you're up watching, doing all that is in vain. When you chase and be shot in the streets, you know, that's in vain, man. So when you come into the true light of Yahweh Shema Shah, you understand that, hey, the Lord put you in this predicament for a punishment. But then there's going to become a time of salvation, which you will cry out unto your power to be delivered, just like in times of old. Oh, just too close to it.
Back you up. Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. It says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us.
Yeah, it's like, but we've been scattered. We're yet this day in our captivity. We're slaves to the system. You got a license, you got a social security card. You're a number, man. And who owns these numbers? It's the elites. And what do they do with your social security card when they trade it on the stock market? You can look this shit up. You know? You like a value, you an asset unto Esau. So you're not free until you're free from the bonds of this man's system. Yeah, he might like to walk around, you know, over here and there, you know, Memphis is a 15-minute city, right? But really, in reality, you don't really go outside for 15 minutes a day, you know, outside of Memphis. But it's like, yeah, you think you're free, but you're really in chains. You're really chained up, mentally and physically. You're just an illusion that you're free. You're still bound by the devil. You still got to pay taxes, bills, you got to pay for water. Right? That's not the lot of a king. A king is not to serve. Yeah?
It says, for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power.
Yeah, so you're paying tribute unto Esau. You're paying taxes now. That's a form of slavery. That means you ain't free. That signifies it right there. Still paying bills and shit. How are you free, Jake? How are you free? Because they took the chains off and now you good? No. Until you got your heathen and slave
says, "Hear Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand wisdom."
Right, give ear. It means that you gotta bow down your ear to the Lord. The Lord set up those men who have his decree, his knowledge, his wisdom, as you read in Jeremiah 3:15. Hey, the Lord will give you passage according to his heart, which should feed you with knowledge and understanding. So you don't got the faculty or discernment, then how can you really tell who is being sent from the Lord? Which really, in reality, hey, the elect will be gathered by the word. It wouldn't be by carnality, how a person looks or, you know, this and that, as far as the point, but it would be by the Spirit. So that's how we're gathered. It wasn't by how we look, you know what I'm saying? It was by what was spoken. We signified and discerned, that was true. That's how it was.
It says, "How happened in Israel that thou art in thy enemy's land?"
Yeah, how did we get here? Well, because we transgressed against our power. How was shot? Deuteronomy 28:15. You disobey the commandment, you worship idols, I'm going to send you where the Egypt began the ships. And here we are. We in modern day Egypt by way of the transatlantic slave trade. Suffering under Esau. See? Yeah.
"That thou art waxing old in a strange country,
Yeah.
that thou art defiled with the dead."
And we are the foul of the dead. The dead represents your nation. Never had the understanding of how about small shot. You know? And then again, we lost it. We had it. And then the Lord took it away. That's that great fall away. So we were the foul of the dead, but now we've been awakened by the way of understanding. You know? Here it is, we're trying to put the spirit of how about small shot and awaken those who may be able to hear, which is the rest of your thing. Who we have been given freedom. Yeah.
"For thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom. For if thou hast walked in the way of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, thou shouldest have dwelled in peace forever."
Yeah, because we would have been still in Jerusalem, see? Ruling out of Jerusalem, ruling over the heathen. Like King Solomon's throne, the throne of David, King Solomon took over. That was really supposed to be what a perpetual rule. But, you know that eventually that had to take place, he will go off. And then that king will fall, but that was like a precursor of eternity. That was like a preview of eternity. Now that Solomon, who is our Lord Yahweh Shah, defeated the devil, he can't see anymore. He can't go off and worship idols of different members. You know? So by him being in order, the whole nation's going to get in order. He's going to be elect. That's why you guys see that to Yahweh Shah for that perfection. And then standing from him on down, he's going to put an everlasting rulership, righteousness. You know?
That is Ezekiel 37, in verse 12. It says, "Therefore prophesy." It says, "Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel."
Right, open your graves, man. Who's dry bones. See? And cause you to what?
It says, "And cause you to come up out of your grave and bring you into the land of Israel."
Right, and you know what? There was a miracle that Yahweh Shai did that was symbolic to what we experience today. Ezekiel 37 on dry bones and record. We get that Matthew 26, 1 through 14. The Lord performed a miracle was he brought up the dead from the grave. That was symbolic to what would happen this time. See? We're like, man, this is a miracle what the Lord is doing. He did it in the physical back then over 2,000 years ago. It's being done today in the spirit. Okay.
Yep, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 51. "And behold, one of them which were with Yahweh Shah stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear."
They might not like it. They arose at their graves. I forget. Might be Jewish. Yeah, Bill Rent. What's good? Bill Rent. Body arose at their grave. Man. Yeah, 27. 27.
book of St. Matthew, chapter 27, verse 51. And behold, the veil. Come. This is St. Matthew, chapter 27, and verse 50. Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose.
Yeah, many bodies of the saints slept rose, man. See, there'll be a bit of time. That was symbolic of what we experience right now. And this is happening in the physical, like literal. Go ahead.
And came out of the graves after his resurrection,
Right.
and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many.
Yeah, that's symbolic of what we are doing today. Revelation 11 chapter. Verse 11, real quick. Very, I was trying to and it was really symbolic of what we're experiencing today. Of what we're experiencing today in the spirit. And when you work a miracle and raise up the dead out the grave, and will walk once again. And it happened in the physical. And here it is, we're doing it in
Yeah, this Revelation 11:11. It says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua entered into them.
3 days and a half represents 350 years. 1969, 70, give or take. You know, when the bulk of the southern kingdom would come over here in slave ship. All right, we'll be in captivity. So the knowledge came forth. Yeah.
Yes, it says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua entered into them, and they stood upon their feet.
Right.
And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Yeah, 'cause that's like almost like a horror movie for those who try to put us to death, you know, keep us buried, but taking away the knowledge of Yahweh by small shot. So to see us within the knowledge once again, it's like, damn, how the hell did they arise from that? We thought we buried them more than 6 feet deep. We thought we got rid of them, man. But here it is, we call them the name of Yahweh Shai. That's a miracle. And they're afraid. They know that those names are very powerful. Right. Woo! For us to find that out, that shows that it's of a higher power. You know what I'm saying? So we arose and came on to our feet. That's like a dead body literally rising by the grave, man. That's a frightful sight. So in the sight of the elites, hey, this is a terrible sight. All right? It means that you didn't completely kill us, man. You put us to sleep, but you didn't destroy us. See? You didn't finish the job, man. Thought we was dead. Oh, they had still almost heard about somewhere in Birmingham on this day. He woke up in his funeral home. I just saw it today. And I don't know the story really. I might look it up, but it said nigga rose up out the casket in the funeral home. You know? I might fact check that, but I saw it.
You got stories like this. Motherfuckers wake up at their funeral. You see? That's us. The spirit. You know, rising up before Esau. You know, after rap music, you know, gang culture, trap culture. You see all these different things, all these different tools that's really used to pull Jake more into the lifestyle of an American. You know, for you to defeat, for you to jump over that, you see, and to call upon Yahweh Shai in the midst of Babylon the Great, you know, that's nothing more but the Lord, man. Because there's so many niggas. You can be a rapper, an athlete, you can go to college, you can be blue collar, you know, you can be white collar, you can go international. There's so many different things that they got pulling at people here in America, you know, that pretty much make you an American, man. But yet, you know, the Lord called us out of that. You see? Yeah, this is Revelation 11, verse 12. It says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld them.
Yes, after the resurrection of the dead, right? See, how shall rose from the dead, and we did the same thing in the spirit. After that, it came with the ascension. So as Yahushua was called up, asking for first chapter. Hey, we're going to experience that same effect. Lord, what are we the number? But the elect, whoever they are going to ascend up to heaven in a cloud. All right? You see how the correlation between the story of Yahushua relates to the elect of Israel in the last days. Yahushua died, he resurrected. Now you got the elect who died mentally, spiritually, or resurrected. So it's not. And that's going to trickle over to what them men actually lifted up to a cloud, man. So hey, spiritual power. You're watching the living dead. Those who were once dead, but now they live again. You know? After walking living. Hey, people are literally like watching a miracle right before their eyes, man. Like this is very powerful if you're spiritual, right? If you're corny, you're not gonna be able to receive it. If you don't have the proper understanding. You can't put the two. You know, you can't put them together. You can't correlate the two relate the two until Yahushua and the elect. How we went through the same thing. We are other body of Yahushua. So what he went through, the elect gonna go through. In some way, shape, form, fashion. You know?
This is Ezekiel 37, in verse 13, it says, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live.
And you shall live. See, you shall be quick. How we alive is in line 663. Alright? It is that the spirit quick. Yeah. The flesh profit nothing. The words I speak unto you, and they are spirit and they are life. And so the Lord woke us up like he did by the way of the testimony. The word spoken. We became aware of who we are, our power, how we're offending, and we were exposed to what we need to do to please our power. In return, the Lord gave us insight. He gave us north our eye for ourselves, that I may see. Now we understand the future. Lord's purpose, will, and intent. You know, and 2/3 don't. That's why they're going to stay here and die.
It says, and it shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then you shall know that I, the Lord, have spoken it and performed it, said the Lord.
Okay, spoken and performed. So, hey, man, you about to go back home, man. This is the process of going back home, which we desire. You know, we was keeping out of our homeland, we scattered abroad. But then we at the point, the Lord was praying for the children, which Lord will restore us back to that former knowledge that was going to initiate salvation. Now we know who to call on to initiate salvation. Now we know what to pray for. What are we praying for? American destruction. But at the same time, praying for the liberty. So along with you agree with the Lord's will, hey, the Lord can accept that. Although it's fully ridiculous, you know, we acknowledge our offenses. We went off. Yeah. That's the first step. Coming back to your apology, you gotta acknowledge that you went off. And once you expose to that, now the Lord can deal with you, man. Now he can expose you to secrets. You know? We qualify now, hopefully, right? Saved by hope. You know, by some knowledge and our offenses to be saved from the wrath to come. Lift up in time of destruction. You know? It's not his power. That's why John the Revelator wept. That no man in the earth, in the heaven, you know, when the seal of the Lord died, he's able to open the books to release the seals thereof. No one had the understanding, but Yahushua did. That's why he said all power was given to me in heaven and earth. So, through the decree of Yahushua, the Lord sent for angels to unlock the mind of the elect, begin with the elder prophet of the David. And you know, you see what they have grown to, right? What they have grown to until this point. Speaks about that mustard seed, you know. Like, man, why the Allah strong shine? Definitely a light thing, man. You know, requires something big that we can't really fathom. You know, if you really understand how big it was, you probably blow your Lord keep us at a base level for this thing. Although we hide in the rest of the people as far as acknowledge some things that they just don't need to know right now. But we know we're going to go over and receive eternal life. This is the way you want to be at. Alright? Amongst the Israelite camp does not have the counsel of Yahweh Shemosha. You know? IUIC, ICPK, GOCC. You got some niggas on the street by themselves doing his own thing. Another thing, you can't even take the counsel of anything outside of the scriptures. The body of Yahweh. That's why I think we gotta be up there. So we're going to the rebellious church and take counsel from other people. That's a deadly offense. That shows that you don't believe, man.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, that taketh counsel, but not of me.
That's what makes you rebellious, is if you don't consult with Yahweh by Shemosha. You say, let counsel go for every reason. So niggas don't consult with the body of Yahweh, and they find themselves in a bad predicament. And that signifies that you really don't believe, man. So war unto you, rebellious children, take counsel, but not of me.
And that covered with the covering, but not of my spirit,
Right.
that they may add sin to sin.
Yes, you don't understand that, and you just added more sin upon yourself. You added more plagues to yourself. And here it is, the Lord brought you to his counsel. And so you know what to do. You don't get the Lord to deal with this body right here, and it's so wrong with you. You go outside of what we have here for, any kind of mental stability, health, as far as what to do, it's really going on. The Lord get pissed off with you.
That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth.
Right, you didn't consult with the body. You went down in the rest. Sought counsel from America. Yeah.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh,
You want to strip your mind, strip Esau's philosophy. See?
and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Yeah. You put your stock to America when they had to present other than the counsel of Yahweh Shemon Shai. The Lord said, hey, since you want to do that, you're going about your own way. Let's see where your fruits get you. That Proverbs 3rd chapter. You know? Fruits in your own way. Yeah.
Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame,
Yeah.
and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
Yeah, so most things, no other counsel they was predict the future. Tell you what it needs you need to know in order for you to escape the sin of Pharaoh. Alright? You can go see a psychiatrist or whatever. You know? But it ain't gonna benefit you. Cops are gonna take over there. Trust in America. You don't want to be in these times not knowing who to call on, who to believe in, what to do. Hopefully, you run around like a chicken with his head cut off. Don't run into all kind of shit. So it's like, man, it's like, is it Cleveland to Yahweh Shemosha, you can get the party in these times.
Yeah, this Proverbs 4 and 1. It says, hear, ye children, the instructions of a father, and attend to no understanding, for I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law.
Yeah, forsake ye not the Lord's law. Go back to what the testimony is. You know? So, hey, the Lord was saying as a father. If you want to know something, and you used to go to your father and ask him, Father, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I do that? You know? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So when you go outside those perimeters, it's like you denying the counsel of your father. Like you don't believe what he tell you is correct. And you find yourself in the hell of a truck. Hell of a lot of truck, and you went to like I told you. You should have asked me. Now look at you in a predicament because you didn't want to seek counsel. You know, so Howard Shah is really the father these times. Right? He's the father that's still not in us like the Howard. You know? Yeah, so it say he was what good doctrine. See that doctrine? That's the key to life. That's the key to keeping your mind. That Proverbs 4. Keep your heart with all diligence. So I didn't know the issues of life, so the doctrine.
Yeah, this Proverbs 4 and 23, it says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life.
Right, so you got to keep your mind all good. Which means you got to retain these words. The instructions and all that, they got to be in your mind. That's your defense right there. When you lose your defense, it's like you open up to the demons. Demons come in and find that you don't
Sirach chapter 9 and verse 14, as near as thou canst, guess at thy neighbor and consult with the wise. Let
Yes. You might be, I don't know, but let me consult with, with an elder and see what they think about this. Yeah.
it says, let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High.
See, everything has to revert back to the scriptures. If it doesn't, it's not a outside. That's the thing. No, we're not here to do our own thing or to lean to our own understanding. Hey, but to seek counsel from the Lord, man. You don't do that, but you don't always follow with some circumstance or forcing with another. You get punished for doing it. Not regarding wisdom, you got to see these hurt. The scripture says. So, that was it.
Come.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, and verse 22. And Samuel said, have the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifice, as in obeying the voice of the Lord. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams.
Right, to obey is better than sacrifice. Like, you can put up 1,000 videos a day. Put up 5, 10 videos a day or whatever. Man. But when it comes down to the council, if you're on the bed, then it's like, it doesn't matter. Your work's in vain. The Lord requires obedience rather than sacrifice. That's all in your mind. Like, what does the Lord think about this? Should I do this? Should I do that? Let me consult first. You're not sure. That'll keep you safe. That safety. Most of the council. Let it show that you really believe in your counsel. Body now.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna go my own way. And that's witchcraft. I think they can understand it. Man, amen. Witchcraft. You want to seek counsel from abusive spirits. Shit ain't got nothing to do with y'all about us going on. And that AI, that shit dangerous too. You don't know how to use it. Find yourself spiritual life, check EBT, man. You get that spirit, you filter it out. You know what the spirit means. Like, check, see what they say. When you start like asking questions like this, how do I
And stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, he have also rejected thee from being king.
Yeah, they have the same according to Saul's life. Yeah, Saul's life. So, hey, we don't want to be in the house of Saul when you just digress and get weaker and weaker because you're not receiving counsel. But you want to be in the house of David with your mind become stronger within your house shop. Take that life, counsel and all that. We'll be recording all your moves, all our moves. None of us perfect. Certain offenses, man, is worse than others.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 14. It says, where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
So it goes back to counseling, man. See? That's that. Read it again.
God, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall.
Yeah, you fall. Your mental state falls, man. But wisdom was designed to get you out of trouble. When you deny wisdom, then it leads into you digressing. Mentally, spiritually, physically, we all have done that in a sense. That's when we get more wisdom, Go ahead.
But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Right, so you find out when you consult multiple counselors, the leaders, that they give you the right, counsel. They give you the right decision. You find out that was really the Lord. He said, doing this, doing that. Get myself in this
the Sirach, chapter 6, and verse 22. It says, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is manifest unto many. Give ear, my son. Oh, Sirach, I'll read that again. All right, this Sirach 6 and verse 22. It says, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Give ear, my son. Receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel.
Yeah, because most wisdom consists of is prophecy. If it tells that allows you to walk according to the instructions they will say your life. I mean, it's going to what the angels is coming ahead, just like Noah. Alright? It was warned about the flood. So through wisdom, you what? Build an ark. Save the house. That was wisdom. Same thing with us today. We heard about the destruction. We saw the build. But in the spirit sense, by following the instructions, they give you the same instructions to the believers. You know? So they can be saved as well. Because at the end of the day, those who have wisdom are going to live. Those who don't, will die. You know? Yes.
It says, and put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain.
Yeah, put your feet into her feathers, thy neck into what?
Into her chain.
Yeah, that's you being bound up by wisdom. It's like anywhere you go, wisdom's always in your mind, it's always guiding you. That you're being bound up. You're not just doing your own thing. You're not living like a fucking beast, man. You're always considering the Lord before you know you go forth with an action. That shows you that the spirit is different. You know, because you're always thinking about the fear of the Lord. See, when you don't fear the Lord, man, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You're not bound by wisdom. You know, you're living like a 230. Reckless, saying anything, you're doing anything. Alright? You're not thinking about your consequences. If I do this, what will happen? What the scripture says. So let me follow that.
It says, bow down thou shoulder, and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds.
Yeah, 'cause it's a burden. You walk in wisdom. See? A lot of folks can't carry that burden. That's when your house shine comes to it. But when you deny certain shit, it's like, damn, that produces what persecution. You know? Certain opportunities present themselves, you know, when you years ago, walk in the Lord, you deny, they praise the Lord, burden. Anything pertains to life, man. When you let it go, like a burden.
It says, come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee.
You gotta search the seat. You know, you gotta search the scriptures. You ain't them, you think you have eternal life. That's how you find those wisdom. Have a chain around, you know, the neck. Also shackles can be feet, but they clear your mind. The scripture is that it's an inspiration. You know? I'll read the book of Proverbs today, and he is me. I'm like, man, that's a bad verse of the Bible. Gotta do it. Yeah. Like, man. But, you know, you can tell how, like, the more you read, the more scripture really sink into your mind. Man, you know, why since I read it like this? You see, like, it motivates you. Change your outlook on life, how you deal with people, your reaction, you know. And it also develops patience. Develops, you know, suffer, you know. But that produces life, man. Keeps you out of bullshit. It preserves you.
And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. For,
Keep that heart without it. And the way that you can let her go is by you entertaining false philosophy. Yeah.
for at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that she shall and that shall return to thy joy.
Right, so eventually that burden of keeping the instruction of wisdom, the Lord's going to take it all with salvation. You're going to see the benefits of carrying that burden. You know, when you get those new bodies, it's not going to be that burden you carry that weight is not going to be compared to the glory. When you receive salvation. So yeah, we'll endure for these times right now, knowing that there's going to be a great reward for salvation in the future.
Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 20. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. Come, this is Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 20. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end.
Yeah, that's what the prophet set up for. Right? The man you see up there, man, we receive counsel and instruction. As we have freedom to see, so we give unto you freedom. So it's like, man, see, you hear, you believe, you hearken, or you deny, you go out doing your own thing, you be destroyed. Whether you know it or not, yeah, you within the counsel of Yahweh myself, and my apostle on that.
Hey, that made me think about that prudence as well. Because it says, thou shalt be wise at thy latter end. Remember the paraphrase? Yeah, because when the smoke clears and the dust settles, the last one standing is the ones who obtain that wisdom.
Right.
You know what I mean? They was the wisest amongst the people, man. You know, because they had, the knowledge for the everlasting life. You know, and this is important. Why it's, to seek this counsel up here, man. And it's all of you, all about Shemal Rashad.
It's like, if I may add that, you look at it the times of Noah. Noah was the last man
Yeah,
standing.
that's it.
He hearkened. He hearkened to counsel. And that's what we hope to be. We hope to be still standing in the end, man.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that up.
No, I had something else, but he don't point. Damn, God. Kind of just back y'all up. Proverbs 15 and 22 in the NIV. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed.
And you find out you ought to walk through sometimes you don't
Yeah.
need counsel. You find yourself in a hole and shit, man. Damn, I should have counseled back then. And I'm in the hole, so like next time I want to make sure. It's all a learning experience, but Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. And they all go away and counsel. Like, you know what they say in the world?
Hard head, make a soft ass.
That's it. That's it.
Not hearkening to counsel. Lord will whoop that ass, man. That's the benefit, of hearkening to counsel, man.
This is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 32. It says, Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not.
That's the precept. That's why you gotta be in tune with the precept. Yeah.
It says, Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my door.
Yeah, so you watching daily videos, all right? That's you at the post of Yahweh Shai's doors. Knocking, you inquire, and you listen, and we give you instructions. Like you soaking in, now you been built up to walk in the ways of Yahweh Shai.
It says, For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord.
Yeah, of the Lord Yahweh. The Lord said, Here's my beloved son, who I'm well pleased, and hear ye him. You know that Solomon, Yahweh Shai. St. John 14 and 6 proves that that's talking about Yahweh Shai. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man coming to the Father but by me. So like the Lord sent for Yahweh Shai to give you instructions on how to walk, how to live, how to be delivered. But if you got people who can't bear that burden of walking in the ways of Yahweh Shai,
And it says, But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hated me love it death.
Yeah.
You hate the testimony of Yahweh Shai. You hate his word. That's what you subscribe to. Go ahead and get put to death. You can't say somebody want to plead. Jeremiah 15 chapter. Also, you're going to the New Testament. The Lord got a list of pleas ready for those who rebel against the word. somebody read it. Let's go ahead and get that Jeremiah 15. That's somebody else has.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 15, and verse 2. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity.
Pretty much, and when people come to us from the time of trouble, Chris off, ask us, like, when do we need to go? Speak about those perilous times, right? Not what to do, anything hard to do, what to go, you don't know what to do to see. Like, damn, then you're going to find out that we was true prophets, but it's going to be too late for a lot of you. We're going to pretty much say, hey, what we've been saying right now, those who didn't listen, hey, you're going to be saints of one of these plagues.
Jeremiah 15 and 2. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then,
What do we do? Boy, how did we get out of this?
it says, then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity.
Concentration camp. So it's like death, and you got famine, man. A lot of people gonna die from not being able to eat. It's all of death, man. Trying to eat little babies and shit. This shit can be real. It's terrible. Lord gonna send a lot of you people like that. To that judgment right there. Especially you women. You got 6, 7 children, second lead. All these benefits and shit. Big ass tax return. Eventually, Lord bring the family, come and eat a little bit, get benefit off of it. So like when they talking about cutting off Section 8 and food stamps.
They said millions are already lost. Millions never leave.
God.
Already lost these benefits. And just a couple of period of time, also going into the times becoming hard to bear. And that's going to spark a reaction, man. This may hear this, it highlights that harsh, fierce, and savage. You know, it's just going to be how people going to be responding to resources being brought up.
Jeremiah 15 and verse 3. And I will appoint over them more kinds, saith the Lord, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy.
And the beasts of the earth. When the wild go out, allow the wild beasts to change their place. You're gonna have what? Bears, tigers, lions, and beasts. Talk about robot, dogs, and all that kids. You know, whatever you saw got. See people afraid in the lab, these red beasts. We're gonna at least get that shit in the city, man. I wanted to say, it's gonna be a time of horror. When the beasts are coming, don't be wild.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 21, and verse 34. Yep, Luke 21 and verse 34 in the NLT, and it says, watch out. Don't let your hearts be dulled by carousing and drunkenness, and by the worries of this life.
Words of this life. Yeah.
Don't let that day catch you unaware,
Right. Now watch.
like a trap, for that day will come upon everyone living on the earth. Keep alert at all times, and pray that you might be strong enough to escape these coming horrors and stand before the Son of Man.
Yeah, the Lord gonna bring forth the real army to America. Like in the time of Egypt. We always go into the wilderness south of 17. You know, we're gonna have apparitions, ghost type figures. You know, people dying just on the side of the beach. Zion. People like scary movies. So like, hey, the world is the video of Zion. You got a fascination for real life. Trap in your home, lights out.
Unaware, you know, and those are the things that's gonna catch you like a thief in the night. Like the bridge going down. Because you know, niggas gonna have plans before these things start to build for you. You know, that's how it's gonna catch you. You know, but the Lord tell you to watch. See, because about watching, you expect it, man. You know, you see we can cause these bridges to go down. And you see the data centers that's being built and the resources that's being sucked up, like the water and shit that end up with the energy, you know, that's gonna cause the grids, it's gonna cause power outages and stuff. And that's one thing that's linked to those data centers is power outages. So with that, you know that you should be looking for it, man. Because the Lord said it too, though. You know, but yet people not they not watching or being in tune with prophecy. That's what's gonna catch them like a thief in the night. You know, and they gonna be taken, and they gonna be niggas gonna have a plan. And then the lights gonna cut off on Tuesday, man. You see, in the middle of the fucking week, and then it's gonna stay off until the weekend. You know, nigga, phone gonna die. You see? And then that shit gonna start to set in, nigga, because Jake already scared of the dark, especially Eve. I can make it. They got lights all through the fucking house. Yeah, night lights all through the house, man. Sensor lights all through the house and shit, man. So when all these things are taken away, freaks knocking at your door with big ass flashlights, you know, and it's just you and your baby in there, yeah, shit gonna set in, man. And you caught like a thief in the night.
My type to say, everybody got plans to be hitting them out. See, yeah, that's what I do. There were props on you. Knock your plan in out the window, man. Then it's like, damn, you got no light, you got no water. They always talking about the water system being compromised, cyber attacks. You know, water be defiled and you can't drink it. What are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do when there's no food? It's like, damn, you gotta have an exit. People not expecting to lose all this, man. Because they get so used to comfort, right? You know, and these resources that have been freely given to them for real. You know,
Like that picture shall be so good people.
yeah.
They shall think themselves to be in good case. It's like, right there. That's what Jake think, right? You know, because you still go to the grocery store, you still DoorDash, they think everything's all right, man. You know, but they don't consider that the Lord, when he returns, he's coming like a thief in the night. You know, that Sirach 5:7 says, in thy security, thou shalt be destroyed. You know, so while people, you know, like the brother was going into, you know, they're not watching, they're not measuring the time diligently. You know, as the scripture tell you, yeah, they sit there, you know, people aren't measuring the time, man. You know, the way if you were measuring the time, you'll see, man, the Lord is about to return, man. He's close. You know, we're seeing the earthquakes, the protests, you know, the wars and the rumors of wars, the love of many waxing cold. You know, we're seeing all the signs that the Lord told us to look out for before his return, man. You know, but it's just like in the days of Noah. You know, they were eating and drinking, giving into marriage, you know, and they knew not until the day that the flood came.
I'm gonna add to the prophecy, not survived that mode of enormous bias. You think that everything's gonna get backed up and be all right. When we're exposed to prophecy, now the Lord dealt no ancient times, letting them know, like, nah, this ain't the same. It ain't gonna get better.
Right.
So the prophecy ain't gonna get worse and worse. And the prophecy, it signifies that the family shall grow, right? I will increase the family upon them. You know? It's gonna be power outages, man. It's not gonna get fucking better, man.
Even on the east, it's like,
Yeah, this second Ezra 9, in verse 9, it says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast me away despitefully shall dwell in torment. It says, for such as in life have received benefits have not known me, and they that have known my law while they had yet liberty, and when the yet place of repentance was opened unto them, understood not, but despised.
Yeah, it says that they had liberty. We had freedom.